What happens when love turns into betrayal? What happens when trust, built carefully over months, is destroyed by lies that were never meant to come out? This is not just another reality TV breakup. This is the story of Jasmine Pineda and Matt Brownies. It started with dreams of marriage, ended with heartbreak, and turned into a scandal no one expected. This story has everything. A proposal that went wrong, public humiliation, a hidden affair, and a financial scandal worth $500,000. When Jasmine Pineda proposed marriage to Matt Brownies, his answer changed everything. He told her clearly that he could not marry her. There was no hesitation, no promise of maybe someday, just a flat rejection. This led to a huge argument between them. Emotions exploded, and both of them were left hurt and angry. In the end, Jasmine Pineda and Matt Brownies made a painful decision. They officially separated. But that was only the beginning. Later, a shocking truth came out. Matt Brownies had been cheating on Jasmine for an entire year. While he was in a relationship with her, he was secretly involved with another woman named Elizabeth. Many people claimed they had seen Matt multiple times in different restaurants. He was never alone. He was always with Elizabeth. And the story did not stop there. Jasmine later claimed that Matt had borrowed $500,000 from her. According to Jasmine, he spent all of that money on online gambling. When she asked him to return the money, Matt denied ever borrowing it. Left with no other choice, Jasmine turned to the court. She filed a lawsuit against Matt Brownies, accusing him of embezzlement and defamation. The court eventually sentenced Matt Brownies to 1 year in prison. Now, the full truth begins to unfold. For years, cameras from 90 Day Fiancé followed Jasmine Pineda's life. Fans knew her well. She was fiery, emotional, and sometimes unpredictable. But one thing was always clear. When it came to love, she was sincere. She wanted stability. She wanted security. Most of all, she wanted marriage. She believed that a real commitment would prove all her struggles with love were worth it. Then Matt Brownies entered her life. He wasn't a longtime cast member. When fans first saw him, many thought he was different. He seemed calm, steady, and grounded. Where Jasmine was emotional, Matt appeared logical and controlled. To many viewers, they looked like opposites who balanced each other. For months, Jasmine dreamed of taking the next step. Marriage wasn't just a fantasy for her. She talked about it with friends, family, and even hinted at it on social media. To Jasmine, the future was clear. She didn't wait for Matt to propose. One evening, in a moment that shocked fans, Jasmine proposed to him. The ring was carefully chosen. The moment was quiet and intimate. Jasmine looked into Matt's eyes, nervous but determined, and asked him to spend the rest of his life with her. The silence that followed was heavy. Matt did not smile. He did not look surprised or happy. Instead, he said words that shattered everything. He told her he couldn't marry her. Not now. Not later. Just no. It was direct and painful. Those close to the couple later said the silence after his answer felt like something breaking. Jasmine's heart wasn't just hurt, it was crushed. What followed was a massive argument. Words were thrown in anger. Jasmine accused Matt of wasting her time. Matt accused Jasmine of pressuring him. The dream of marriage disappeared in one night. Neighbors later recalled hearing shouting. Friends noticed Jasmine suddenly disappeared from social media. Something had ended, and it ended badly. Soon after, Jasmine Pineda and Matt Brownies officially separated. But Jasmine didn't know the real reason behind Matt's rejection. The breakup wasn't just about fear of commitment. It was about secrets Matt had been hiding for over a year. After the separation, Jasmine fell into silence. The kind of silence that hurts more than noise. She had opened her heart on television and was rejected in front of the world. Friends described her as devastated. She stopped answering calls. Her strong personality faded. Her social media went quiet. Matt, however, acted very differently. He didn't seem broken. He didn't appear sad. People who saw him after the breakup said he looked calm, almost relieved, like a burden had been lifted. But behind that calm was a lie. When fans learned about the breakup, social media exploded. Jasmine had always divided opinions. Some loved her honesty. Others criticized her emotions. but most agreed that being rejected like that was humiliating. Clips of the proposal spread everywhere. Fans argued online. Some blamed Jasmine. Others blamed Matt. What no one knew was that something much darker was hidden beneath it all. In the weeks after the split, Jasmine tried to move on. She leaned on friends and family. She told herself the relationship had simply failed. But questions kept her awake at night. Why was Matt so cold? Why did he seem like he had already moved on? The answers came from strangers. A fan messaged Jasmine and claimed to have seen Matt with another woman. At first, Jasmine ignored it. They were broken up, after all. But then more messages came. More sightings. Always the same woman. Then Jasmine heard the name Elizabeth. Elizabeth was younger and unknown to the public. But witnesses said she had been around Matt for a long time. Possibly longer than Jasmine ever knew. When Jasmine confronted Matt, he denied everything. He said it was gossip. He accused her of being paranoid and dramatic. Those words hurt more than the rejection itself. But Jasmine trusted her instincts. One night, a stranger sent her a photo. It was taken in a dim restaurant, but it was clear. Matt was sitting across from Elizabeth. They were holding hands, laughing, comfortable, intimate. Jasmine stared at the photo for hours. She tried to make excuses. Maybe it was old. Maybe it meant nothing. But then more photos appeared. Different dates. Different places. The same woman. The truth became impossible to deny. This wasn't new. This wasn't casual. Matt Brownies had been living a double life. And everything was about to fall apart. This was not a new relationship. It had been going on in secret. As Jasmine looked deeper, the truth became terrifying. Elizabeth was not someone Matt met after the breakup. She had been in his life for more than a year. An entire year. That meant while Jasmine was planning their future, talking about marriage, dreaming of proposals, and giving everything she had to the relationship, Matt was already living a double life. Friends later confirmed they had seen Matt with Elizabeth months before the breakup. Some even said his harsh rejection of Jasmine's proposal finally made sense. He couldn't commit to her because his heart and loyalty already belonged to someone else. For Jasmine, this wasn't just betrayal. It was humiliation. The rejection had hurt deeply, but realizing she had been competing with a secret relationship the whole time was unbearable. She had been fighting for love while Matt was hiding another woman in plain sight. When Jasmine confronted Matt again, this time with photos in her hands, he could no longer deny the truth. The evidence was undeniable. What followed was explosive. Neighbors later said they heard shouting that went on for hours. Jasmine's voice broke with anger and heartbreak. Matt, backed into a corner, tried to defend himself. He claimed Elizabeth understood him better. He said Jasmine was too demanding, too emotional, too much. None of that mattered to Jasmine. There was no excuse. She had given him love, loyalty, and sacrifice. He gave her lies. What was already broken turned into ashes. When rumors about Elizabeth reached the fan community, chaos followed. Social media exploded. People asked the same questions again and again. Who was Elizabeth? How long had this been going on? Was Matt cheating the entire time he was on 90-Day Fiancé with Jasmine? Many fans defended Jasmine, calling her a victim of deception. Others blamed her personality, saying Matt had simply searched for peace elsewhere. But no matter which side people took, one fact was clear. Matt Brownies had destroyed the trust of a woman who had been ready to give him everything. The truth about Elizabeth was more than a scandal. It was the start of something much worse. Because love wasn't the only thing tying Jasmine and Matt together. There was also money. And that truth would turn heartbreak into a courtroom battle. Before that happened, one thing was clear. Matt's affair had changed everything. Jasmine was no longer just hurt. She was ready to fight back. For a long time, Matt Brownies managed to keep his affair hidden. Private dinners, late-night meetings, quiet moments behind closed doors. But secrets never stay buried forever. It began with a simple sighting. A fan of 90-Day Fiancé claimed to see Matt dining at a restaurant in downtown Miami. He wasn't alone. He was with Elizabeth. At first, it didn't seem important. Maybe it was business. Maybe family. But then the fan noticed how close they were. The way Matt leaned in. The way Elizabeth laughed. The way their hands touched across the table. This was not business. This was intimacy. Soon, more stories followed. Couples on date nights, restaurant workers, people passing by on the street, all told the same story. Matt Brownies was not single, and he was not faithful. He was seen again and again with the same woman. Elizabeth was no longer just a rumor. She was real. Photos started appearing online. At first, blurry phone pictures, then clear ones. Matt and Elizabeth holding hands at shopping centers, sharing drinks at rooftop bars, standing close by his car, talking like lovers. The internet reacted instantly. Fans posted the images on Reddit, Instagram, and gossip forums. Within weeks, the story changed. Jasmine wasn't just heartbroken. She had been betrayed. Some fans went back and rewatched old 90-Day Fiancé scenes. They pointed out moments when Matt seemed distant or emotionally checked out. Many believed he had already been with Elizabeth back then. That was why he never planned to marry Jasmine. For Jasmine, the public reaction was devastating. The betrayal was no longer private. It was being discussed and analyzed by strangers online. Every photo of Matt with Elizabeth felt like another wound. While Jasmine had been fighting for love, Matt had been living another life. Her trust, her dignity, her pride, all exposed in public gossip. The fan base split into two sides. Team Jasmine flooded her pages with support, telling her she deserved better. Team Matt pushed back, saying Jasmine was too controlling and unstable, and that Elizabeth was his piece. No matter the opinions, one truth stood firm. The affair was no longer hidden. It was public. As the sightings continued, Jasmine's pain turned into anger. This was no longer just about love. It was about lies, disrespect, and betrayal she could not forgive. But what no one knew yet was that the scandal was about to become even darker. Because behind the betrayal of love was a betrayal of money. $500,000. Betrayal of the heart hurts. But betrayal involving money and trust leaves scars that last a lifetime. For Jasmine Pineda, learning about the affair was devastating. But the next truth was even worse. Matt hadn't just broken her heart. He had emptied her bank account. The story of the money came out quietly at first. Unlike the affair, this time the information came directly from Jasmine. In emotional conversations with close friends, later confirmed by court records, Jasmine claimed Matt Brownies had borrowed $500,000 from her. $500,000. Money that represented years of work, savings, and trust. Jasmine believed she was investing in their future together. Matt told her he needed the money for business, for stability, for building a life together. Because she loved him, she believed him. But Matt didn't invest the money. He didn't secure their future. He gambled it. Online casinos, sports betting, poker games. Night after night, Jasmine's money disappeared. By the time she understood what was happening, it was gone. When Jasmine confronted Matt about the missing money, his response shocked her. He denied everything. He claimed he never borrowed any money at all. He accused Jasmine of lying and trying to destroy his reputation. He said she was making things up out of heartbreak. But Jasmine had proof. Bank transfers, messages, records that showed exactly what had happened. As she pushed for answers, Matt became more aggressive. Their fights grew worse. The affair was one wound. The money was another. Together, they became unforgivable. When news of the $500,000 reached fans, the scandal exploded. This was no longer just about cheating. People began asking serious questions. Was this fraud? Was Jasmine scammed? Was this love gone wrong or something more calculated? The media reacted fast. Headlines talked about addiction, betrayal, and financial ruin. Matt's image completely changed. He was no longer seen as calm and steady. Many now saw him as dishonest and manipulative. For Jasmine, this was no longer about emotions. It was about justice. The affair had humiliated her. But the loss of $500,000 crossed the line. Jasmine Pineda made her choice. She would not stay silent. She would not just expose the truth online. She would take Matt Brownies to court. What began as a love story filled with promises had turned into a legal war. And this time, no cameras could protect him. Because addiction doesn't just destroy money. It destroys trust, relationships, reputations, and sometimes entire lives. The legal battle that followed was long, exhausting, and emotionally draining. For Jasmine Pineda, walking into the courtroom felt nothing like the glamorous world of reality television. There were no cameras capturing dramatic angles, no producers guiding the story. This was real life, and the stakes were painfully real. Jasmine sat quietly as lawyers presented evidence. Bank statements, wire transfers, text messages, financial records that showed large amounts of money moving from her accounts to Matt Bronny's over time. Each document told the same story. Trust had been given freely and it had been abused. Matt sat across the room, silent and stiff. Gone was the calm, protective image fans once believed in. In its place was a man facing consequences. When questioned, Matt continued to deny wrongdoing. He claimed the money had been gifts. He said Jasmine was exaggerating, acting out of anger, trying to ruin him because he had moved on. But the evidence spoke louder than his words. Jasmine took the stand, her voice steady but emotional. She spoke about love, about believing in a future together, about trusting someone completely. She explained how the money was never meant to be a gift. It was a loan, given with promises of repayment and shared plans. She described discovering the gambling, the lies, and the denial. At times, her voice shook, but she did not back down. Witnesses were called. Financial experts explained the gambling transactions. Friends testified about Matt's behavior during the relationship. Even timelines of his affair with Elizabeth were brought into question, showing how closely the cheating overlapped with the financial deception. Slowly, the picture became clear. This was not a misunderstanding. This was not a messy breakup fueled by emotions. This was a pattern of lies, manipulation, and reckless behavior. As the trial went on, public opinion shifted even more. Fans who once defended Matt began to fall silent. Others openly admitted they had been wrong. Online discussions changed tone. This was no longer about personality clashes or relationship drama. It was about accountability. Elizabeth disappeared from the public conversation. Some said she distanced herself once the legal trouble became serious. Others claimed she had been unaware of the full extent of Matt's actions. Whatever the truth was, she was no longer the focus. The courtroom was. When the verdict finally came, the room was silent. Matt Bronny's was found guilty of embezzlement and defamation. The judge cited the clear financial evidence, the intentional denial of the loan, and the damage done to Jasmine's reputation. Matt was sentenced to 1 year in prison. There was no dramatic reaction, no shouting, no celebration. Jasmine closed her eyes and exhaled. It wasn't victory she felt. It was release. The sentence did not erase the pain. It did not return lost time, broken trust, or emotional scars. But it did bring validation. It confirmed what Jasmine had known all along. She was not crazy. She was not exaggerating. She had been wronged. News of the sentence spread quickly. Headlines focused on the fall of Matt Bronny's. The man once seen as calm and stable had lost everything. His reputation, his freedom, his future. Fans reacted with mixed emotions. Some felt satisfaction. Others felt sadness over how far things had gone. Many expressed sympathy for Jasmine, acknowledging the strength it took to stand up publicly and legally against someone she once loved. For Jasmine, life after the trial was quiet. She stepped away from social media for a while. She focused on healing, therapy, family, rebuilding a sense of safety and trust that had been destroyed. She spoke privately about how betrayal changes a person, how it makes you question your judgment, your worth, your instincts. But slowly, she found herself again. She began posting occasionally, not dramatic messages, not accusations, just glimpses of strength, smiles, travel, small reminders that she was moving forward. In interviews, she didn't speak much about Matt. When asked, she simply said she had learned painful lessons and hoped never to repeat them. She encouraged others to protect themselves, financially and emotionally, even when they are in love. As for Matt Bronny's, prison life was a harsh contrast to the life he once lived. Removed from comfort, control, and excuses, He faced the consequences of his actions daily. Those close to him said the experience changed him, though whether that change was genuine or forced remained unclear. When his sentence ended, Matt stepped back into a world that no longer trusted him. Job opportunities were gone. Public sympathy was minimal. His name had become tied to scandal, deception, and greed. Some stories don't end with redemption. This one ended with reality. The story of Jasmine Pineda and Matt Brownies was never just about a failed relationship. It was about what happens when love is used as a weapon, when trust becomes currency, when silence allows lies to grow. Jasmine entered the relationship believing in forever. She left it having survived betrayal, public humiliation, and financial loss. But she also left stronger, wiser, and no longer